It was supposed to be a quiet, joyful moment. A family-only holiday event, tucked away behind palace walls, far from photographers and protocol. But even in the most private rooms of the monarchy, pressure brews. And on this particular evening, a single remark, quiet, pointed, and likely never meant to travel far, would send shockwaves through the royal household. Princess Catherine, known for her grace under pressure, made what some are calling a protective comment to Queen Camilla. But what followed wasn't just awkward silence. It was a moment that spilled over into a visible and deeply unsettling reaction from young Prince George, the child who will one day wear the crown. This wasn't a staged moment or a headline-seeking scandal. This was a human fracture exposed through a child's face, and it may have changed the dynamic between Catherine and Camilla forever. Sources close to the royal household say it began with a conversation that looked polite, even friendly, until it wasn't. The event in question was a holiday celebration attended only by senior royals and their immediate families. These gatherings are meant to be moments of peace, unity, and tradition. But according to insiders, something about Catherine's comment struck a nerve with Queen Camilla. While the exact wording remains private, and likely will remain sealed behind palace discretion, it's believed that Catherine made a veiled reference to Camilla's role with her children. Specifically, her position as step-grandmother to George, Charlotte, and Louis. For a woman as guarded as Catherine, such a remark wouldn't have been made lightly. But she has always been fiercely protective of her children, and even in palace circles, she's known to be quietly firm when it comes to drawing boundaries around her family. Camilla, on the other hand, has walked a far more complicated road to royal acceptance. And while she's grown more confident in her public role, she has long carried the burden of public scrutiny. To her, Catherine's remark may have felt like a slight, not just personal, but symbolic. Witnesses say Camilla's demeanor changed immediately. Her smile stiffened. Her body language turned cool. The conversation didn't escalate, but something had clearly shifted. What no one expected, though, was how it would all unfold later that day. Later that afternoon, as part of the family event, the royal children were participating in a playful group activity, a light-hearted craft or game, something meant to bring joy to the younger royals. But it was during this moment that the mood took a dramatic turn. Camilla, still perhaps carrying the weight of that earlier exchange, reportedly addressed Prince George directly. Those present say her tone shifted noticeably. It wasn't playful. It wasn't grandmotherly. It was pointed, sharp enough to startle those nearby. Again, the specifics of what she said are not public, but multiple sources suggest it was dismissive or critical, perhaps meant to correct or challenge George in a way that felt disproportionate for the moment. And the result was immediate. Prince George's face reportedly fell. His posture changed. He looked down, visibly embarrassed, even hurt. Catherine, who had been watching from nearby, reportedly moved swiftly to comfort her son. She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, whispered something, and guided him away from the group. The others carried on, but the emotional current in the room had changed, and no one could ignore it. Publicly, Catherine and Camilla maintain appearances. They smile side by side. They stand united in official portraits. But behind the scenes, royal insiders say the relationship is complex, and moments like this reveal the fractures. Catherine represents the monarchy's future. She's a mother, a working royal, and arguably the most admired woman in the royal family today. Her path has been marked by loyalty, discretion, and the kind of modern grace the palace desperately needs. Camilla, by contrast, is part of the old guard, but not by birthright. Her rise to queen consort was a long and controversial one. The shadow of Princess Diana still lingers in the public imagination, and Camilla has spent decades trying to carve out her own role. While she's earned respect in many royal circles, there's still tension, especially when it comes to her relationship with William and his family. That tension, often hidden behind formal events and polite gestures, seemed to rise to the surface during that fateful holiday gathering. And when it did, it wasn't just the adults who felt it. Camilla's integration into royal family life has always been a balancing act. While she shares a marriage and title with King Charles, Her connection to the next generation of royals has remained distant. Reports over the years suggest she's maintained a formal, almost hands-off relationship with William and Harry's children. She is not Granny Camilla. She has never been photographed reading stories to George or holding Charlotte at a balcony appearance. Her role has been more ceremonial, more distant, and to some within the palace, that may be intentional. But to others, particularly Catherine, it might signal a lack of emotional investment in the children's lives. If Catherine's comment was meant to highlight that emotional gap, Camilla's later reaction to George only confirmed it for many observers. The perception, whether fair or not, is that Camilla remains disconnected from the heartbeat of the younger royal generation. And that perception is now spreading rapidly. Catherine's reaction during the incident, moving swiftly to comfort George, shielding him from embarrassment, was instinctive, maternal, and deeply human. It's exactly what viewers have come to expect from her. She's long been praised for striking a balance between royal duty and motherhood. She brings her children to public events, but only when appropriate. She allows them to express themselves, like George's cheeky moments at Wimbledon or Louis's spontaneous dancing. But she's always nearby, watching, guiding. Her parenting is modern, but firm. It reflects a desire to give her children a taste of normalcy, even within the most abnormal of lives. So when George's composure cracked, when he looked for a moment, just like any other kid who'd been unfairly scolded, Catherine didn't hesitate. And in that moment, she showed why so many view her not just as a future queen, but as the royal family's moral compass. When word of the incident leaked into public view, the reaction was fierce. Social media erupted. Hashtags like #ProtectPrinceGeorge and #RoyalTension trended for days. Fans demanded answers. Some called for apologies. Others called for transparency from the palace. And while the institution predictably declined to comment, the public sentiment was clear. People were angry, not just for George, but for what the moment represented. A monarchy that continues to struggle with authenticity. A queen consort whose warmth still feels out of reach. And a mother doing everything in her power to protect her son, even from within the palace walls. This wasn't a scandal created by the press. It was an emotional ripple captured by those who saw it happen, and echoed by millions who've watched George grow up in front of their eyes. At its core, this incident is about more than words exchanged between royals. It's about image, influence, and the growing divide between the monarchy's past and future. King Charles now finds himself in an unenviable position. He must support his wife, Queen Camilla, the woman who stood by him for decades. But he must also consider the well-being of his grandson, Prince George, and the mother who has become a pillar of strength in the royal house. His silence may serve tradition, but tradition is no longer enough. The public expects transparency. The royal family can no longer afford to appear cold or aloof, especially when the moment in question involves a child who will one day lead the realm. If there is no reckoning, the monarchy risks further eroding public trust. And at a time when younger generations are questioning the very relevance of the crown, that erosion could prove costly. Prince George will likely forget the details of this moment, but the emotional imprint may last. Whether he grows to embrace the crown or resist its burdens, incidents like this will help shape his journey. And Catherine knows that. Her role isn't just to prepare him for kingship. It's to preserve his sense of self in a world that wants to define him. Camilla, meanwhile, may face yet another uphill climb. If she hopes to repair her image with the public, and with her step-grandchildren, she'll need more than carefully staged appearances. She'll need warmth. She'll need presence. She'll need to engage in a way that feels real. And behind the scenes, King Charles will need to lead, not as a monarch, but as a grandfather and father-in-law. The monarchy has survived centuries of conflict, betrayal, and reinvention. But sometimes it's the small, personal moments, a glance, a comment, a child's reaction, that reveal the most about what's to come. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more royal revelations.